What's up, homies? Jay Arabian here. And I did a fun thing this weekend. I went and played a pro quest over at Heroes Hideout out in Florence, South Carolina. It was super fun, a little far. Not too far, actually. A couple hours, I mean, but I was just tired. But I wound up finishing second place, so it was really fun. Did way better than I thought, but you can see here we got this super nice playmat for going top two. The tri-shot mat's actually super cool. Like, I mean, it looked super cool the first time I looked at it. Then as I laid it out for this video, I looked at it more and I'm just like, wow, like the blood splatter from the art, like from the arrow, like literally going into this guy's eye, like just it's more graphic. And I mean, but it's cool, right? Because I think the game is just not intended for children. So I mean, I really am a fan of the art. Super dope looking playmat. We also wound up getting a cold foil hero, and for us it was Levia. Everyone else had already collected their prizes, and so when I got mine, the last one there was the Levia. I like Levia though, I'm a fan. I won Levia in a Rodinats before and I wound up selling it, so not sure if I'll hold on to this one or not, but it is, that was our prize. We also got some cool stuff. We got the big flesh and blood tablecloth play on, that was really cool. We also got a big Starvo poster and half a box of Everfest first ed, so that was cool. So yeah, it was just a good time overall. But yeah, we were really here to do the deck list, so I guess before the deck list, let's talk about the event just a little bit. I started the event, like I played Chane, going round one into Starvo, did not go very well for me. I believe it was like his second turn. He had a Pulse of Oldhim in his hand, so he fused. And he held that in his hand for like 2 or 3 turns, fusing. Then finally, or not fusing, I guess, Bravo trigger, Bravo ability. So finally, after 2 or 3 turns of using it to trigger that ability, he went ahead and played it. But the turn he played it was kind of nuts because he plays it, and he goes, "All right, Oaken Old fused." So I took a 15 attack dominated, go again, Oaken Old fused. I mean, it was nuts, man. It was crazy, right? It was just like the ultimate high roll. Is what it is though. Next round I played into Starvo again. And destroyed that Starvo. He did not have the hands like the previous opponent did. He low rolled. If anything, it was crazy opposite ends of the spectrum in those matchups. But after that one, let's see. I took notes on it. Life. I kept life here, so all my life checks. But then it was Prism round 3. I won that one 23-0. Actually, the Starvo round 2, I won 33-0. That's how unfortunate his hands were. Then I played Briar round 4. I won that one 20-0. Boltyn Sabers round 5. I won that one 12-0. That one was pretty rough. I wasn't sure if I was gonna pull that one through or not. In the last round of Swiss, I was X1 at this point. Had only lost the first round. I won. It was against Viserai, and it was 8-0 when I won that one. Also, that one was very back and forth, very close. So at that point, Swiss was concluded, and I had completed Swiss losing 1 round, and it was the first round of the tournament. I was honestly in awe of just how the day went, because after that first crushing defeat to Starvo, I didn't think there was any chance I would really go anywhere in that. I was really ready to just go ahead and hit the road back home. But of course, I'm not one to just quit playing. Like we're at least gonna try, right? Like unless I lose the first 3 rounds in a row, I'm probably gonna keep trying. But sure enough, we pulled it through, so that's pretty awesome. We got top 8. We were fourth after the final round of Swiss, so not bad at all. We got a decent seed. So in top 8, I was able to choose going first, right, which is nice. It's Chane playing into a Viserai. In top 8, that was pretty fun. It was what was that one? That one ended up being, oh yeah, I went to 1. I went to 1 before I wound up killing him. Like it was super back and forth. Super good game. But yeah, it was just super close, but I wound up snatching the win out in that game. Then over here, we did the top. This one was top 4, and that was into a Starvo. And at this point, that Starvo was undefeated. He hadn't lost a single game all day. He finished Swiss undefeated, then he won in top 8, so he was 7-0 until he played against me. And our game was pretty decent. Like he didn't high roll me, but he didn't like wasn't like my round 2 Starvo opponent either. He didn't just have no plays. So it was like, I think it finished, I was at 6 when I killed him. and I think I wound up killing him with the invert existence. Invert, like, got him just to a point where he only so like, he had one card in hand, and he had the invert. I can't remember exactly how it ended. Either way, I killed him with arcane. I know, because I tried to get my turn as wide as I could, put him down to one card in hand, and I was like, all right, cool, one card in hand. He'd already used crown, so I was like, let me just present just enough arcane damage to try to make sure I finish him. Yeah, so I wound up getting that win. Then going into finals, it was against Katsu, and that one was much different. Katsu game was very much different. Did not go as well for me. It was not. Like, I started out okay, but it just got to the point where I could not push damage anymore. There we go. I was looking at the wrong page. There we go. Actually, okay. So it was 9-0 the Starvo matchup, and then the Katsu it was a 15-0, like 15 my opponent. It just got to the point where he had so much tempo I couldn't come back. So it was a good game though, good tournament overall. I was very happy with my performance. I did not think like I said, after the first round, did not think we were gonna go anywhere, but we actually wound up going all the way to the finals. So won 7 games in a row. So it was a good day. I was happy with Chane, happy with everything. But all that aside, let's go ahead and get into the list, huh? So we have, of course, our Chane, the rainbow foil Chane, because I've still not been able to get a cold foil one. I need one. Someone wants to hook a brother up. Then we have our Soul Shackle. Crucial, right? Of course, we have what? 2 Rune Blade, 2 Rune Chance. Those come and go. We get some equipment out here, right? The most important weapon, the only weapon for Rune Blade, right? Rosetta Thorn. I think there's nothing else really worth playing. Of course, we get the open gap, the Carrion Husk, the Dark Knight, and Spellbound Creepers. Pretty self-explanatory, right? So before going, I didn't get a lot of time to test as much as I would have liked to. Getting to other people, right? I ran a lot of games on my phone through Felt Table. Not optimal testing, right? It's AI, but I find it helpful for at least checking like how you like the way the cards flow. But when as you change ratios and stuff like that, like practicing like your sequencing and stuff, it's kind of helpful for things like that. So I did a good bit of that. But so I tried to watch some YouTube videos. I saw one from Card Guys, right? Sebastian talking about his list, and for his equip. So this is basically like the equipment, especially, is identical to what he talked about. Because we have in the sideboard the Ebb and Fold and the Ether Ironweave. And I never brought either one of those into at the tournament because I didn't play into any mirror matches or any fatigue is what he said he used them for. Like I considered this one when I played against Prism because I wasn't sure what it was going to be as far as like am I going to need to. I wasn't sure if I was going to need to if it was going to be like a grindy game because Prism like do the whole defensive thing. Brings in the skull cap and the tunic, right, instead of in traditional Prism. And but I just ultimately went with Husk just because I was afraid of like heralds, big heralds getting in and getting us free on hit effects. So we went with Husk, which was good because I wound up using it to block an erudition, I'm pretty sure, or protection. But either way, it was something that was very useful having Husk. Right, it was worth having. Evanfold, I've actually never been a fan of, but like I wound up in that whole Felt Table testing I was doing, playing it just to see how it went, and I had a lot of times where it which is useful, just being able to push damage, and I've always read it and in theory understood why it's so good and why so many Chane players used it, but personally I guess I just never was able to, never, like when I used it, it was always like it never came up for me, and I was like, man, I really wish I could just be blocking right now. So but I could see now like the value of it, but like I said, I didn't get any mirror matches, so I wasn't sure if there was any other matchups I should bring it in. I considered it into a Briar, but again, I was like, let me just block, right? Blocking is good, so I want to just roll in skull cap the whole day. But that is the equipment, and the hero, everything else. Now let's talk about the get these guys up. Corner, how about that? Decklist. So of course, for this, we're just gonna go reds, yellows, blues, right? Reds, we got 3 belittle, 2 minimalism. And of course I've got 2 blues down there. It was just so good. I cannot emphasize enough how good this play was. Belittle into either red or blue, if the hand required it, getting the blue, but to be able to play out a full, full blood debt plus, whatever else in my hand, like it was perfect to be able to access more resources. If I happen to already have a blue or enough resources on hand for what I needed to play, grabbing a free +3 is also insane. Card already has go again built in, right? Which is the thing. You really want to have enough go again to play out your full turns. So like getting a 3 go again plus access to whatever you need to fix your turn is just nuts, right? Like so good, so good. And of course, your 3 command and conquers, like I don't think I need to talk about that, right? Card's just good. Card is super good. I played it in everything but Starvo. When I played him against Starvo and everything else, I played it, and it was good. Anytime it showed up, it was good. Into Viserai, it was amazing. Into Briar, it was amazing. Like just turns it showed up was just good. I don't need to. I guess E-Strike. I'm not gonna. It's kind of wild because I know a lot of people aren't playing E-Strike anymore, but I will say this. I think E-Strike was my MVP of the whole day. Not by itself, of course, but like anytime I could set up a Shadow Puppetry E-Strike or Captain's Call E-Strike, right? Giving it the go again without its own effect, so you're just already gonna go, okay, cool. 5 go again, draw a card, or 6 go again, draw a card, and a Puppetry trigger on hit. Just so good, so good. It's insane. I did that play so many times over the course of the tournament, and it never got old. Every single time I would just go, all right, cool, blue Captain's Call, go again. Yellow Captain's Call, go again. Shadow Puppetry, and then the next thing, E-Strike. It was amazing. So honestly, this card was so good. I cannot imagine not playing it now. Like not with Shadow Puppetry, and then plus the Captain's Calls. Or was insane. Gloomvale's good. It's definitely better with Viserai, but it's still very good with Chane. I'm sure it's probably very good with Briar as well. It's very easy to turn on the go again. Very easy, right? A Soul Shackle, and you have go again through its own effect. Now the giving it the +1 is the tricky part, and of course it feels bad if you don't have it, right? You really want to get that 4. That breakpoint is so good. So it makes it kind of it's kind of costly, right? Because you have to basically create a rune chant, so you're having to pay 2 into your grasp just to do that. So it's kind of it's still good. I'm not saying not to play it, but yeah, I would still play it at 3 even. But yeah, that made it kind of just not the best, but I still like it, and I would still play it at 3, like 100%. This card, of course, was insane, right? This card did a lot of work for me over the tournament. It is really awkward when you don't have another non-attack. I'll try to just throw it in the arsenal if I can, until I get able to set up a turn where I can play it out. But 4 rune chants, right? The card just says 4 rune chants. I mean, it's nuts. And at the end of the day, even if you don't have a way to turn it on, it's still nice because you can still play it, right? To have played a non-attack that turn, to turn on your blood debt. If you've got rights, right, and demigons, which you need that non-attack to get out of your, either A, if you really need to be applying the pressure, or B, you really can't afford to have that blood debt sitting there. You can just say, all right, cool, Revel in Rune Blood, no effect. Awesome, now I can play out my blood debt. Like, of course, you're always wanting to create rune chants with it, but it's nice that it has that option, just to be able to turn on your stuff. Shadow Puppetry is Shadow Puppetry, right? The card is just nuts. This card is just so good. I mean, +1 go again to any attack action card, not just Runeblade, not just Shadow. And the Puppetry hit is always nice, right? Getting to look at the top card of your deck and banishing it or not. Super great if you can extend your turn enough and you find a blood debt there. Also good if you happen to find a card that's not blood debt, but you just know that's not what you're trying to draw. You say, cool, I'm just going to banish it. That way it's not in my next hand. So card is very nuts. Next we have these blood debt cards here. Pretty self-explanatory, right? 3 red Downing Demigon. Maybe the best one now. Just a 4 go again when I played from Banish. So very good. 0 cost, right? That's super nice. That's what I consider it as maybe the best one. Of course, the old best one, the Red Rift Binds. I did have some crazy turns with Red Rift, just because of like Red Minnowism. I would do Red Minnowism. So Red Minnowism basically says +4 for your Riftbind when it's banished. So like it's nice, super nice. But I would have like Red Minnowism, like a Revel in Runeblood, 4 rune chants. Now it's an 8 with 4 arcane. Yeah, so still able to set some pretty big stuff up with Red Rift, but obviously much more difficult than we could do back in the day, right, with our original chant. But we have our Ghostly Visit, which is just a 1/4, which is from banished, right? So 1/4 that you can play out of banish is definitely nice. Unhallowed Rites, similar to that Ghostly, only does have that requirement. You do have to hit a non-attack action before you can play it, but also has the super nice added bonus of cycling back a Blood Debt non-attack action to the bottom of your deck. I think we're only playing Hal in this list, so not a lot of targets, but still super useful. Like if you happen to run anybody that wants to try to shift to a fatigue strat against you, like you have that added bonus of just getting some extra cards back in the deck, so that's super useful for that. Of course, probably the best Chane card, right? Soul Reaping. I don't think it gets any better than this. Yeah, I don't need to talk about that at all. That's just card is good. Card is an auto include if you're playing Chane. Period. So that's the reds, guys. Let's go on to the yellows. Art of War. 3 out of war. It's Chane. 3 out of war. This card says generic instant, right? Generic instant. It should say, right there, it should say Shadow Runeblade instant. That's what it should say. This card was made for Chane. Nobody can utilize this card like Chane can. It's so good, right? So good. Of course, Yellow Captain's Call, part of the MVP play of the day. Used this card so many times at E-Strike. So good. Not just this one, but the blue as well. And obviously Shadow Puppetry. Outside of the E-Strike play, right? It's not just that one, right? Being able to just go wide is nice. And if you have it, if you already have it, like getting a +2 is great. So yeah, card's just good. Card definitely performed. 3 yellow Demigon, basically there to help out your blood debt ratio. You know, it's not like it used to be where we're just almost always hitting blood debt, you know, like every banish we're usually going to hit at least 1 blood debt. Now we're missing a lot of the time, and it's fine, right? It's not the end of the world. But we have to play more, I guess, weaker blood debt cards, so that's why we have our yellow Demigons here. Not bad, just obviously not as good as reds. Yeah, good card still. 2 blue Minnowism targets for the Belittle, right? We talked about that earlier. Just super nuts combo. 3 blue Captain's Call. I like it. I like these cards. I like them a lot. You know, you have targets. You have the Shadow Verser target because that has to be a zero cost or lower. Is the only things you can use with blue Captain's Call. You got your Shadow Versers. You Strike is the other one. I think there was another. Oh yeah, Demigons. You're playing plenty of targets to justify playing the blue one as well on top of the other one. So like, yeah, card's good. Definitely gonna play it because like again, E-Strike, E-Strike go again, draw a card. Thanks, Captain's Call. Card's super good. Blue Mob Sky is just helping with that go wide, right? Getting us another form of go again, and then of course they're gonna let us hit. We get the free rune chain out of it. Super good. I did wind up using this a few times just to help turn on Storming Gloomveil, like I said earlier, right? Like this triggering is so nice if you have the Gloomveil because now you get the 4 go again without having to invest into the grasp just to get a rune chain, right? So like this that kind of helps a lot too. This card's just good. 3 Shrill, blue, card's nice, blocks for 3, potentially, or pretty much always going to swing for 5 when you play it. So it's a 2 cost for 5, which is not bad. And like I said, it's a blue that blocks for 3. That alone is good enough to play, but then the potential 5 attack out of it, yeah, that card. 2 Reek, again, this is something I saw, like, a buddy recommended to me already to try out playing red Reeks, and I liked him, and I was probably going to play him. But again, when I was looking at that Sebastian list, he had 2 blues in his deck, and I was like, okay. I kind of like that better because it 1 helps with your blue ratio, and 2 it's like gonna accomplish the same thing. I get that. I guess with 4 it's a break point, and so you might get more out of them. But either way, like all we care about is getting cards out of their hand. If we're like with these cards, so like, and it doesn't like take up space having a side in and outs. It's just a core card as a blue. It blocks for 3. I mean, at the end of the day, if I need to try and threaten that like I'm like in that aggro type matchup, and I really just want them to get really want to get cards out of their hand. This card can still fulfill the same purpose. So I was really thinking that I might want to go to 3 of this one just because it's a blue blocks for 3, and it really has that added utility of potentially trying to get cards out of your opponent's hand. So this card is definitely nice. 2 inverts. This card was so good. I couldn't believe how good it was. It helped me close out multiple games over the day. And ultimately, it was part of the reason I lost the finals. I should have. So in the finals, I played against Katsu, and I even thought to myself going in, I'm like, as I was looking at what I was going to side in and out, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to add this, but what am I going to take out? I'm like, and I remember thinking, oh, I should probably cut these. As I thought about Katsu, I was like, I don't think there's many non-attacks you would really play, and it was right. I should have done that because I wound up banishing it like pretty early in the game. and I think it burned me 1 or 2 turns, just because. I mean, as soon as I saw it, I knew, oh man, I'm gonna need to play that just to get rid of it, and I think like just because it didn't line up right, like as far as resource wise, I didn't really have enough to play the turn optimally and still use this card. So I think I wound up getting burned like a 1 to 2 life off of this. So it really hurt me in that matchup. And then I banished it again late game, and of course there was still no targets for it. So but I had to play it again because late game I was so low that there was no way I could afford to let it sit there, and that messed up my turn as well because I needed to be ending on a Rosetta Thorn, but instead I had to end on an Invert Existence just to get it out of my blood debt, and so that was really rough. So that was just a huge thing. I wish I had remembered to take these in that matchup. But overall, though, the card performed. The card was super good. If you banish it super early, it kind of sucks. But wow, there's only 2, and worth the risk, because mid to late game, it's almost always going to be live in most matchups, and it's really nice to kind of sneak in and help you close out the game. Then of course the blue blood debt. We only have, or we're yeah, I guess we have 5. I guess right. 2 blue blood debt, and then 3 more here. Shadow Verser, which is good. It's only 2, but helps you. If you have blood debt in your hand, you can put it. You can banish it, giving this go again. But at the same time, it's going to help you, get your blood debt in your banish pile, getting it live now. So, it's just nuts. Like, I love playing this out on like Art of War turns, right? Giving it up to 3. But like on top of that, it's also nice as like a target for Captain's Call, the blue one. So like, if if you don't need to go again that turn, it's nice as a target for giving it the +2. Making it a 4 go again. So it's that breakpoint. So that's the blues and the yellows. I guess we can talk about the sideboard. This one here is pretty much the same as what Sebastian posted. 2 time snaps, 3 runic reclamations. We played that against Prism. This is the only time these cards came in the deck. And these guys, holy cow! This is the first time I got to play this card in a matchup, and when I resolved it, it was just so good. Like, cause I wanted to try and go like wide, right, to get at least a couple cards out of their hand. So I think I was able to do 2 attacks before I played the runic, just because it's the 3 drop, so it's kind of hard to go too wide. And then I think they had 2 cards in hand, and so I was like, all right, cool. Runic Reclamation for 7, and they just had to let it hit, and I popped their aura like it was at 2 at the time. I think they had like a Shimmer and a Parable or something. I forget what it was, but I think I wound up going for the Parable. Or maybe no, because this was swinging for 7 still, so the Parable was already gone. Either way, it doesn't. This card just did work. Let's just say that. I mean, this card was super good. I was so happy to finally get to put it in against Prism. I was sad I only played against 1 Prism that whole day because I wanted to play this card again. Like, I just resolving it felt so good. So there's those guys. This is what I know. Sebastian called it his fatigue package. I never had to really side this in at all. I did, however, side the 2 Howls in. Okay, so like when I played against Starvo, the 3 different times I played against Starvo, I took out the Command and Conquers because of the Crown of Seeds. Like, no point trying to conquer them when you can just crown the arsenal away. So wound up taking it. And whenever I did that, I didn't really have anything like the board for that matchup. And I kind of just, first game I played against it, I kind of thought, what would I put in instead? And so I'm like, all right, cool. I just put in 2 of the Howl from Beyond, right? It's just a blood debt card, a non-attack action, and still a red, like Conquer is. And then after that, like, I thought maybe it just blue because none of the other cards were that great. And if I'm gonna go for a blue just to have another blue in the deck, help with the blue, right? I just said, okay, cool. I have these 2 left as a sideboard card, so I took one of these, and I would play this because it's a blue, but it also can block for 2. And then if it comes up right, I could play it. So that's what I would just throw in against Starvo. I know that I believe he said to play these for fatigue as well, but yeah, again, luckily I didn't have to play against any kind of fatigue strategies today. I actually did, like, but it was like because they shifted to fatigue because they realized they weren't ever gonna win through their normal play. Like I know I played against Boltyn Sabers. He basically tried to shift to fatigue, and it was very close. He almost lived. And then it was the second round Starvo. It wasn't close, like, but it wasn't like I could possibly lose. It was getting there, right? Whenever I finished the game, so But like again, two decks you're probably you're not gonna expect a fatigue strat out of. So I didn't board for fatigue. So never brought those all in. Like I said, I played these against the Starvo, and I luckily did get to play this package into the Prism. So never got to see a time snap, but like I said, I saw the runic and it was so good, so good. Then I don't think I sided it off for the Katsu. I just kept the core, which is fine, except for the inverts. I should have cut those. But yeah, that's it, guys. It was fun, super fun. Like super happy I was able to take Chane and do well with him again, like I did. Or actually better than I did Road to Nuts. Road to Nuts I played 3 and I just made top 8 in 2 different ones. So I actually did way better than I ever did in Road to Nuts. Chane, so it was super fun to get to do that. Had a good time. A lot of cool people I met at the event. You know, super great shop. I can't wait to get to go out to Heroes Hideout again because it's so cool. They have like a ramen shop set up in the card shop. It's like the card shop plus it's got like a legitimate restaurant with a menu of like a ramen stuff, curry, ramen, and just it was super cool, man. Super cool place to play. Jealous of all the guys that have that as their locals. But yeah. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you if you did, please leave a like. Subscribe to the channel. You know that cool stuff. And if you guys want more details, I'm gonna post the full list in the description below. I'm gonna try to get the breakdown as well, so you guys can see all that information. I know for the top 8, it was 1 Chane, 1 Katsu, 3 Starvo, 3 Viserai. And the rest of it, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it was 38 players total. And like I said, I'm gonna try and get the rest of that information before this video goes up, and it should all be in the description below. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you guys again so much, and hopefully I'll see you guys out there destroying these Starvos and everybody else with Chane. Have a good one, homies. Later.